to be considered a public community meeting. There's a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Next, we have verification of meeting notice.
Minutes are posted as required.
Next, we have agenda revisions and approval.
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is public comment. This is the time visitors and guests may address the board on any agenda item. The board president, at her discretion, may limit the comments to no longer than 5 minutes. We do have somebody that submitted a comment saying they'd like to discuss new policy that the school will no longer share community events. These are all existing policies. Okay. And in the past, what we've done as far as community events, we've usually shared them at the end of the meeting when we did announcements. If we were made aware of the community events, we did share them.
I'm talking about like through the Thursday flyer, through the community calendar, in that sense, through the social media. We were told that the school will no longer be sharing our flyers or our public events, particularly like the Lions mini golf this weekend. And so that would include things like Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Play Forcade, possibly the fire department, fish fry, and I took that as a slap in the face because the Lions Club works very closely with the school to accommodate any requests that you guys or students have of us, and to not support us back, and not just the Lions Club, but all of the community, is very insulting to the people in the community that put in those hours for all of those nonprofit volunteer activities. And so I found that out last night, and I am very upset to say the least.
Okay.
I guess, I don't know how many of you know me, but I don't really, not many of you look familiar, but I do volunteer quite a bit in our district area, and so I know I'm not the only one upset by this, as well as the other clubs that don't know yet.
Thank you for your comment. We are not able to answer questions. We can listen to the comment. Okay. And we will check into this for you and get your answer. The next item does not have an agenda item, so we would not need to address it. However, it's asking about why samples aren't being taken on parking lots, why the money that's set aside for the building and grounds maintenance isn't being used for that purpose. This would be something that would be addressed by that committee, and we are working to address different issues, so other than that, I can't answer to this point, except that the committee will look into this issue and address it and get back to you. Next, we have the consent agenda. Did everybody get a chance to review those and have any questions or concerns?
Where are the minutes from the previous months posted?
They are posted online on the website. One of the board members called me about that. Something that's confusing for me also, I'm like, how come the minutes aren't posted? It's September now, so in September we have to approve August's minutes. When we approve August minutes after tonight, then they're supposed to be posted.
Okay, so it's online, so I'd be able to go back and find out what it was for June and July.
Yes, and I did look, and we were up to date through July when I was questioned by the board member. Because I had the same concern, and I keep reminding myself we have to, the month after, approve them, and after they're approved, then they get posted. So that's a good question. So if you go under there on the board, and you look under the district tab, and once you look under the district tab, you'll see the board minutes and agendas.
Okay.
Okay? Anybody have questions on any of those? I know there's something for the personnel report you need to review.
So personnel report, as you know, we've been trying to fill the library media specialist position. Erin Knight took a position in the private sector. She is decided to come back half-time, which is great. She's already been working here a few hours a week, so we're very happy to have her back.
sure I know it's in there every year, it just seems like a lot for training, CISA training and staff training and this and that, and it's, a couple grand here and a couple grand here all the time, it seems like. Like I said, I'm sure it's probably, same in years past, but,
Yeah, and then one thing I wanted to point out about that is that now we are doing, instead of just the annual expenses, we're setting that out for 3 years at a time, so you can compare what it was like last year and what it was like the year before that, so we have a 3-year analysis every time we're looking at revenue and expenses. As far as the training is considered, a lot of that, some of the grants that we have access to are very limited with what we can ask for, and a lot of those are training or staff professional development, so a lot of that is funded through grants
sure.
for us.
The
And it is
report,
very
like I said, it was, from years past, it's progressively gotten much cleaner and better, for sure. So, yeah, other than that, good.
Any other comments or questions? I motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is new business. Discuss and take possible action on the student handbook.
Yeah, so last month we did talk about the student parent handbook. I don't think we specifically talked about that one because we spent a lot of time on the staff handbook, but we do need to, or the board does need to approve a student and parent handbook. Other than the date being changed on there and names in terms of like roles as far as Mrs. Holmes or myself, those are the only things that were changed and no other changes.
I know we did talk about last month looking at reviewing stipends that were going to be for sports and
Mhm.
coaches and that type of thing. Do we want to wait until we're able to do that before we approve it? Or do we approve it now and then it's acceptable to do a revision during the year?
This one does not have the stipends in it,
It
this is just for students and for families. So the athletic code, behavioral expectations, academic expectations, what's an excused absence? How do you get an excused absence as a parent? What's our harassment policy? How do we deal with bullying, all that kind of stuff?
And again, if we do approve it, we decide to make changes to something that's in there later, we could.
Correct, yes. If there's a need for that, we can put it in the agenda next time.
Okay.
Typically, a district will approve it at the start of the year and then we'll go for the year for a handbook, for a student handbook.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the student parent handbook presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is discuss and take possible action on the elementary school kitchen updates.
Okay, so here at the elementary school, we have been working on a kitchen that has had virtually no additions or repairs for the past 15 years. It has some overdue improvements and additions that are much needed. The school is not up to code when it comes to leaving food out. So we have 3 lunches that we serve each day, so the kitchen staff does a nice job. They reheat the food 3 times, and then they have to serve cold items out, so salad and different vegetables, all those things. If you don't have a heating and cooling servicing counter, you can't leave things out, so you have to technically take them in and out every time to keep that up to code. So we don't have the correct equipment that would be current health code. We make it work, but it's just not where it would be if we were to add a kitchen or add on to a building. So this is typically used through Fund 50. Fund 50 has additional funding in it. We are over our allotted percentage that needs to be spent currently. So at $120,000, which is left in that fund, we don't want to have a surplus in this fund, and it needs to be used for Fund 50, which is allocated towards kitchen equipment and kitchen staff. So I have outlined 3 options in here that Mr. Smithyman, who's the head of our food service, looked at for us and did some research on, and he's actually recommending the least expensive item. So this is a hot food service counter, table, serving counter, table utility, servicing counter for cold food.
said too that the sales rep basically kind of promoted the cheapest option too, and he said it serves our needs what we need, so he's all good with that.
And I just want to add too, it will increase our efficiency. We'll be able to serve the lunches at a quicker pace, not having to take things in and out. I think you have to think about that too, with what you're paying staff to do throughout the overtime, and that's extra time that they could be doing other duties instead of being in the kitchen.
The company that provided the quotes and everything for this, have we done much business with in the past?
Not, we have previously, but not for a long time. Like I said, we haven't had any updates for 15 years, and a lot of the things that we had are used. Mr. Smithman did a great job of looking to find used trying to find used equipment. There's just nothing else out there that would fit our needs and function.
Okay.
But yes, we have used them in the past.
Do we compare this to any other competitors with, do we know, is this already the best provider that we were able to find?
Best provider ever found, correct? Yeah, it was one of those situations where, you know,
We
it's
did
like
our
the
own
bus
thing.
company, we only had one
Right.
that would bid out. It's kind of like that for the kitchen equipment right now.
Yeah. Okay,
It's the only one that responded to our requests.
okay. How soon are you expecting, I mean, do you want to vote on this now, or is this something that, is there a time when Chris is looking to see this take place? Is this needed immediately? What are we looking at right now?
That would be up for you to decide. I mean, we have obviously been making do, so we will continue to make do for,
The money's in the
if
fund.
we need to, but the money's in the fund for it, so, and it's not something it would take time to install them. We have to do it, obviously, when the kids aren't in the building, so scheduling it, you know, you're looking at, if it were approved today, probably November timeline when it would be ready to go.
Do we know what the other expenses are gonna be as far as getting a contractor in to do it?
That's included.
That's included,
That's
yep,
all
that's all,
included
yep,
there?
yep, correct.
I'll make a motion to purchase the equipment needed for elementary kitchen at the recommended cost that is given to us.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll discuss and take possible action on school facilities, building and grounds agreement.
Okay. So I tried to figure out the best way to share this. I apologize. There's lots of different building and grounds agreements throughout the districts. I tried to consolidate it into one sheet so it's a little bit easier to see. So in order to maintain our facilities, we have to charge a fee for rental spaces. So rental spaces that districts allow communities to use as part of that is the gym, kitchen, cafeteria, library, classroom, outdoor playground. Those are typical areas that we see. And in order for us to maintain our gym, we have maintenance fees of cleaning it up, we have supervision, we have a number of issues that we need to staff. Right now, we lose money on this annually. That's kind of what this report shows, and I'm trying to compare us to local areas. So I have 3 comps in the area, so Aaron's rental fees, Holy Hills and rental fees, and also Dodgeland. So I kind of highlighted the areas that we seem to be very underpriced, and like I said, we're losing money on those annually. So the gym, we charge a current rental fee of $25 a day. Holy Hill charges $20 an hour, which is 14 minutes from our school district, 14 minutes away. Dodgeland charges $25 for a resident for a 4-hour max, and then a non-resident fee of $50. Aaron charges $7 an hour for nonprofit and $10 an hour for profit. The Aaron School District also charges a $23 fee for a janitor, and they do not allow baseball. So the $23 fee, so the $10, for profit, $10 per hour is really add on that $23 for the custodian to come in and do it. So you're looking $20 per hour, and then have the additional fee of $23 per day for a high-impact sport. So if it's a baseball or a tournament, there would be that $23 fee in addition to the $20 per hour. And then my recommendation is to remove that language of nonprofit organization. So currently we have language on there saying that if it's a nonprofit organization, that it would be free. So I would recommend that we take that off. Option 2 would be $25 per hour, and then everything else would be the same. So it would be $25 per hour. You'd have the fee of $23 per day for the high impact sports, and then removal of the nonprofit language. So anything in there that's listed per day fees would stay the same, but we would need to specify that it is up to, it is 1 to 4 hours, like Godwin puts in their agreement, it's 1 to 4 hours. So this per day, we have a little asterisk in there, and so anything that's listed per day is a maximum of 4 hours, so that people aren't, using the facilities for 11 hours and having no equipment and stuff like that.
And then do you still want to allow baseball in there, even though all area schools are not doing that?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We looked at the hours used, 140 hours were used total last year from what I understand, and was looking through the data. If we were able to do, at that $20 an hour, that gets us close to, but not breaking even, very close. So it's hard to say whether or not, if we were to go to 20 hours with some of these community members not want to use the gym, so we would probably be okay. Recommendation from the custodial staff is not to allow gym or baseball because they are worried about the damage that it does in the gym. The metal bats being dropped, even rubber balls, they do damage to the ceiling and all that. Last year there were a couple of days used from, I believe, Rubicon baseball, and so that's something to consider. If we want to allow that, then we have to just figure out how we want to cover the cost of repairing the gym for them to do that. And it's only a rubber ball, or maybe there's mats or just the bats, or something. I don't want it to be you can't use this, but I just wanted you to be aware that the other gyms are not allowing indoor baseball because they're just not built for it, which our gym's not built for that.
Personally, I don't like the baseball in the gym. So we're gonna be repairing it, it's wrecked. Basketball, the other sports make it a little different. Baseball, I don't, it seems like we're asking for problems. It's baseball.
I talked with Chad again on this too, just to get his opinion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, baseball's definitely doing damage, scuffing the floor, this and that. Obviously the floor got fixed this summer. I hate to, I guess, prohibit baseball, in there just because it's kind of a big deal around the area here. Probably upset a lot of people. I would recommend, I could see getting rid of definitely a hard ball and going to a foam ball, I guess. And I think the rate has to go up for sure. If the rate goes up and we limit baseball to a foam ball, I guess that would be my recommendation on it.
Is there any chance of letting the person, for instance, baseball, right? They are on the hook for whatever they damage.
Or
That is-
doing like a security deposit?
Yep, that's a good question. I
Well,
didn't forget to bring that up. So, yep, we currently have a $100 security deposit, which is right along the lines of what we have. So $100 security deposit that they're supposed to give up front. I can't say that it's always been collected in the past, but that would just have to be something that we'd have to make sure when they sign up, like, no, you have to have a $100 security deposit, and that's in the event that, hey, you want the light or.
Right.
If a lighter window I can see, I guess, but like, I don't know, floor degradation over a period of time, that'd be hard to.
It would be.
Yeah, yeah.
Or if we have a higher rate for such activities.
gets it too, I mean, whether just, I mean, open gym or whatever, 20, 30 people walking in the middle of winter overnight, tracks through the hallways and everything else, so it's, I mean, that's part of it as well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even have a problem upping the high impact or custodial fee to, 30 or 35, per event, I guess, just to give ourselves a little more of a buffer.
And if we're the only ones that are offering it.
Yeah, and if
There's no other market set for it now.
We can't let the gym get destroyed just because whatever, we wanna let people use it, I guess, yeah. At the same rate, it only gets used every other day, it's pretty much the most expensive classroom that gets underutilized, for sure, so it is nice to offer it up to the community.
Could we include something in that, security deposit that if the place is trash and it takes 3 hours to clean it up, it comes out of that? At a higher rate? Something to incentivize. The thing that I don't like about making just a flat fee for anything is the people who are respectful and do take care of the facility, they're being penalized the same as the people who trash it.
He didn't make it seem like anything was being trashed by any of these
No,
groups or
no,
anything, you know what I mean?
Right, no, I know
Yeah, I
exactly
mean,
that.
we're just talking, I know we're talking hypotheticals.
I think there's just a higher level of risk when you bring baseball in versus.
Oh, I agree.
But maybe the higher the level of risk, the higher the level of pay that they're gonna have to pay per hour.
I can address that too, I just wanted to point out that some of the language in there says, so I think this was Aaron does this, $23 per overtime hour in additional rental fees. In addition to the rental fees, it doesn't say how many hours it is, it's based off of how many it would take for that staff member to do. So
Right.
use that similar language, then it's not just like, hey, it's only $30, it's only $25, it's $23 per hour, so if you trash, you leave a mess behind, it takes us
Right.
3 hours, you're gonna get charged,
3 hours.
3 times 3 is gonna
Right.
be $69.
So
Right.
what if we did something like $20 per hour with $100 security deposit, and the $23 for overtime hour? But for the high impact, which would be the tournaments and the baseball, go to 25 an hour, 150 security deposit, and 35 for the overtime hour. So that way we're getting a little more for that.
Right, and structure.
And we would have to structure the security deposit terms that they're gonna sign.
Yeah, Chad said there's, an extra setup too, with just volleyball too, because of their netting. He made it sound like too.
Yes, clubs do bring their own stuff, they bring their own basketballs, they bring their own volleyballs, but they don't bring their own volleyball nets, so we have to pay someone to set it up and take it down, that's extra time that we're currently not billing for, and that takes out of duties for the building, or that person has to get the building duties done and then is behind, and then it costs the district overtime to pay that person. We don't wanna get in that situation either.
So can we include situations like that in the security deposit terms?
Yep. So it'd be a setup fee.
Do those numbers sound agreeable to
I
everybody?
like it.
I think so.
Yeah, I think at the very least, if we do a little baseball though too, I think we need to go rubber or foam ball. Hard,
Yeah.
yeah.
They currently use rubber balls, correct?
No, to the best of my knowledge, yes.
Some of them are using hard balls.
In here? In gym?
Yeah.
That's gotta be, just make sure it's spelled out in there.
Well, then, one thing I'm sure missed that, but I've had a number of organizations reach out to me, just because the intermediate building, obviously, that's where the gym rental mostly is. And that's one thing, I've said to them once a contract has been decided on, I'm gonna wanna do a walkthrough, and before they come in, I'll take, I'll take note of how the gym is at that time. But I definitely wanna do a walkthrough when they sign the contract, so everything is understood.
Yep.
Completely, so, but we had a number, mainly basketball, one softball team, so right now it's, those two are.
What do we,
know me, so I'm like, I'll do that.
what do we have, I see we have some, what do we have cameras up at the intermediate gym? Just one?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, would it be possible then for us to consider installing maybe 1 or 2 more so that there is damage, something significant, it could at least be Yeah, and I mean, I don't want, something to be very exorbitant, but,
But it's an easy way to check if
yeah.
we come in Monday morning and something's,
Yeah,
disarranged.
just make certain angles
Absolutely.
are covered is all.
Yep.
I wouldn't think a lot would be required.
I'll make a motion that the building and grounds agreement would read $20 an hour for a rental fee with $100 security deposit plus $23 per overtime hour. High impact sports, which right now would be a basketball tournament or baseball, would be $25 an hour. $150 security deposit and $35 overtime fee. Security deposit terms would have to be spelled out and remove the nonprofit language.
Did you put the security deposit 100 or 150?
We have 100 for the one and 150 for the other one.
Did you want language in there about the balls specified, right?
Yep, or we can put that as security deposit
Yep.
terms, yep.
Okay.
But it has to be phone calls, not hard calls.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have discuss and take possible action on annual meeting date change from 10/16/24 to 10/23/24.
So last week I gave you these to look at as a first read, so this would be the time for you to make recommendations on whether or not you want to approve all, some of these revisions. Most of these revisions, again, were wording updates. We are behind in our policy updates. There are 2 per year typically, and this one was from last year, it just never got taken place because of the transition and change over from previous administrator to me. So we need to kind of catch up with these. Their policy manual update 33.2 is already out, so unfortunately, we're gonna get a lot of these right away to start the year, so.
We gotta make a motion on, date changes, an announcement on that meeting.
Yep.
And that's due to the annual budget meeting.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for catching up on that. So the annual meeting is our budget meeting that's, can only be done after October 15th. And our meeting this year is set up at October 16th. So as you know, we partner with CISA 2. We have a coach there that's helping Carrie and I in the business side of things. And her advice to us was like, well, for both of you to turn that around on one day is going to be very difficult considering you're both new at doing this. So she said, please bring that to your board and ask if you can do it a week later. So my recommendation is that we do that a week later so that Carrie and I can put together the best annual budget that we can, and that way we can do the annual budget for the annual meeting and then do the regular meeting right after it and all at once instead of meeting 2 separate times. That would be my recommendation. Otherwise, we'd have to go one meeting on the 16th and then another one on the 23rd and then a meeting right after that because you have to approve the annual meeting budget that I presented right before that. So we'd end up having to meet, 3 times this time versus just 1 day.
I'll make a motion to move the date for the annual meeting from December 16th to December 23rd.
How about October?
October. I'm ready for Christmas already. October 16th to October 23rd, 2024.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So next, we're gonna go back to discuss and take possible action on policies.
Sorry, I was just so excited when we talk about policy.
My question is the one that came up as a question.
Yep.
Okay, which is the use of social media,
Okay.
because I did take time to review all of these policies.
So social media is policy 7544. So the revisions clarify the public forum options available as to social media platform sites and add a prohibition of the use of such sites by staff or volunteers to communicate privately with students. So I think that is the most important part of the staff or volunteers are not using those sites to communicate with students. As you know, there's a lot of danger out there for kids up there in social
we've always done that in the past, we've always supported community events, we've done it on, Facebook, we've done it with the newsletter, we've done it with the website, we've done it at meetings.
Yep.
So,
So I think that's just.
unfortunately, she left already, but
Yeah,
if we can reach out to her and
Yep.
maybe clarify that.
Yep, that's no problem.
That was my only concern, I read all the rest and I was okay with.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, I didn't disagree with anything that you said.
So, and we've never, so it sounds like there's some miscommunication out there, because we've always promoted all of those.
Yeah, and it,
Yep.
just kind of changing over the way that I kind of change things into the monthly newsletters,
Yep.
which I'll talk about in my report. And then we're really, the website is kind of a mess, we're kind of updating it, so I think that perhaps there's just miscommunication going on, so I'll reach out to the,
Yeah.
to the,
In addition to the new website that's out there that we're not associated with, we don't run with, but the community website is also excellent about sharing those things too.
community Facebook page. or the-
Yes, on our community partners, I believe.
Yep.
Our HNR. Okay. Does anybody have a motion on policies? Or do you need till next month to read them?
I would like to look through them a little bit,
Table it till next one.
yeah, the table of contents.
Or we would
If the whole thing is up on anything,
It's not, I just need to let,
Neil.
I have to let them know what you decided this month. I say that if you table it to next month, I just let them know that, and he tells me that, so we're just, we're already behind them, so it's not like, the policy police aren't gonna come and get us, as far as I know.
It is, that's.
I just want us up to date with all the laws and best
The
practices.
budget's coming, you guys got a lot going on there.
So then we'll go to administrative reports. Chris, you want to start?
Yep, so I just want to give us some updates, I was jotting notes during the meeting here, so lots of safety updates that we're part of. Brian was here for when we did the active shooter drill, lots of recommendations, and Brian did a nice job of sharing that with everybody about what we need to work on for improvements. The entryways are being replaced at intermediate, so they'll all have the electronic key fob, which will really help us for community events such as concerts, basketball games, volleyball games, that will all be on a time thing, just like it is here for this building, which is great. Numbers on the outside of the building are coming up right now, so in the event that there was an active shooter or emergency, and if police are outside and they need to know, like, hey, there's something going on in this room number, like room 2, the room numbers will be posted on the outside of the building, so they can clearly see, how to get to that room number very quickly. Door stops we did find a very inexpensive option for us. I think it's called Lightning or Nighthawk, something like that. But it's a metal, so we have an issue with some of our doors. They're meant to be swinging in. As you remember from last year, we had those blue buckets, and when the buckets had those door stops, we could just drop them and put them under the door in the event that you had to barricade instead of evacuate. And a lot of our doors, particularly at intermediate, I think there's only 2 in this building that have it, but pretty much every room at intermediate all open out, which is not to safety codes today. So there is actually a lock that you can put in that goes into the floor, so a staff member can use a device which is there to push it into the door, into the floor, as it's really secure, so they can't open the door out. But a lot of research says that if, in the event that somebody's trying to get into a classroom, they're in fight or flight mode, they have a mission in mind, they're looking to do as much damage as they possibly can. If they can't get into your room, they're gonna go on to the next one. So if you decide to barricade, it better be secure.
There's a big study on at University of Houston, and they were the one that the run hide fight that we watched.
Yep.
That's where they developed the run hide fight program at University of Houston. It's been used throughout the nation for active shooter training. And that was the first thing that they said was that if a shooter or a perpetrator can't get into a room, they're gonna move on. They're either looking for one individual or they're looking to do as much damage as possible. Because I don't know if anybody saw it yesterday, but there was a 11 or 14
is our plan. So we'll see if it is good. No lights are on the panel right now, which is good, so no morning lights, so.
As part of this too, within the first 30 days of school, the schools are required to do a lockdown drill. So last year we did do an administrative poll drill. This year we'll most likely do both. I don't know if they'll both get done in the 30 days, but I think it's important to lockdown drill and do an administrative poll, just so that staff and kids are familiar with how to do that. And the staff has been talking about that with the students, like, hey, if you ever hear this, this is what it means, and this is what we'll do, and how we respond to it. So if kids are coming out and asking questions, it's because teachers are preparing them for an upcoming drill. And I will send a message out to families that, you know, the drill was conducted, and this was the reason why we did it. As of today now, all positions are filled, so that's a big celebration. Our Ames web screener, in the past, we used STAR to screen kids. We did it 3 times per year in the fall, winter, and spring. Act 20, which is the new reading mandate by the state, has said that every district has to use the same screener. We have to use the universal screener no matter what district you're in. Ames Web was one that the state picked. So it's kind of being run up. The state is rolling it out so fast, it's hard to keep up. So I think that people were very nervous about being able to have it ready at the start of the year, so it wasn't mandated to start this year. At the start of the year, so I did share that in the past. However, I got an email today to say that they are going to be able to roster our kids for fall. We're going to do a soft rollout, so we'll pick a small sample to try, because we might look at doing 1 class or possibly 2 classes to roll it out with this to kind of work out the runs, because we're not sure how it's going to work. But with full implementation of that would be in the winter and then the spring. At elementary, we've had a really good start to the year. Behavioral referrals are down from last year and the year before, so every year we continue to improve. We have a really nice positive behavior intervention system that we have going on this year with our tokens that the kids get. If you're getting them at home, if you have kids, they get their tokens, that I tell you how they're earning them. We have our first incentive for the elementary kids this week, Friday. There's ice cream, liquor quotes for the kids. We had to get popsicles for the kids that can't have dairy too, so. Or maybe they can just have liquor. So that's Friday for them, so they're all excited about that, trying to fill the jar right now. Annual meeting next month, which we just talked about. So a lot of that information is going to be provided once we get to our 3rd Friday count, which is actually this week Friday as well, so that'll give us our final pupil count. I can't say for sure until after that date, but we're looking at, right now, when I checked, we're at 314 students. That may change past that date. So our next staff meeting is October 28th. Updates in district communication. We now have a monthly newsletter. The district monthly newsletter comes out the first week of the month. There are weekly staff memos, and in the last monthly newsletter, a parent survey went out. So we're trying to get information from parents at the start as kind of like a baseline, because it hasn't been done in so many years. But typically that survey is done in the spring. So after this year, that parent survey will go out every spring. And share that data with families and share how we're going to address the areas that they're showing.
It's a good survey. I took it.
Good. So far, I think it's pretty good. We had about 40% of families access the monthly newsletter the first month. This month, it's a little less, but it does take time because families will go and look. Those numbers can be kind of misleading too, because some people will look at it and then look at it again. So I don't know if it's the same 30 families looking at it 3 times. I don't know that data. The weekly staff memos are very well read. So I think staff are probably reading them 3 times a week. So those are well over the amount of student, well over 100% read rate. So I'm thinking staff are going back in and rereading those updates because. So I'm glad that we have the data tracking available with that we're using that now, so we can see what's working. And then I have a note in here to address those community events to make sure that those are appropriately placed where they were. Okay, and then Angie, would
Yeah, so intermediate, you covered obviously the fire panel. That was a fun first day of school. Fire marshal came out and it was a fun walk through right away. But I'm happy to say that's fixed and we'll find out this week how that goes. But expectations, which is kind of now set in place, or that I have set in place with the staff, and just building overall relationships with the students. And they've done this through staff and family newsletters, similar to what Mr. Neesman does at elementary. We also at the intermediate level do the Phoenix tokens, and the kids worked together and kind of came up with incentives that they would want in grades 5 through 8. And so this first Friday will be a time when they can kind of cash in their tokens that they've earned. And then we also each Friday have a fun Friday, and kids earn the fun Friday by completing all classwork expectations for the week, as well as having good behavior for the week as well. And it's gone over well the last couple weeks on those fun Fridays. Our flex time or extended learning time, which is the last 30 minutes of the day, we're kind of regrouping kids a little bit based upon the needs of, let's say, math and English language arts. If kids need that extended learning time, so the groups are kind of, we're working on shifting groups, so it's to best of where they need a little extra help maybe. In volleyball, cross country has 5 meets scheduled, and I think Sean said he has, the coach says he has 18 kids, so he has doubled that since last year. So the kids, usually there when they're practicing, they come in and they are really enjoying it. Volleyball, we had 1 match, and then we have another match next week, and I'm securing reps for that. Working with Hartford High School, because they offer the roughing class and the coaching class. So I worked with Christine Shelstad, and she kind of gives me the students that have successfully passed her class with the roughing of volleyball and even basketball. So it's kind of nice just to put that connection back to the high school as well. And this week, girls and boys basketball sign up went out. You might think it's kind of early, but it just gives us a feel with coaching, where we need, because there's a lot of 7th and 8th graders I'm thinking, just glancing at the list this week. So I'm going to start working on that as well.
Great, thank you. So that,
One question, how are you on the coaching? Do you have the coaches you need, are you looking?
No, we just did the sign up, so then we're gonna kind of see, because looking at last year's yearbook, I noticed, and Ms. Faust just helped me, there's like 1 girls team, and there was a 7-8 team, and then the 5-6 team, so we're gonna look at numbers and decide from there.
Will that be posted if you're looking for?
Yes,
numbers?
yep, absolutely, yep.
So last year we were short in the 5-6 area, so.
Okay.
So we would have to add that position, which we did budget for.
Okay.
And you meant that we
Okay.
need an extra coach, so.
Perfect, thank you.
And where, in the event of looking for a coach, where would that be posted?
We can post it in our newsletter and, on VCAN website, so I guess we'll have to.
And that's where reaching out to the high school too, because we do offer that coaching class. My son took it at the high school, he's in college now, but he helped assist our coach, 5th grade girls basketball team last year, so. That's a way to get those coaches or kids interested in taking that class too.
A lot of the times it's parents or teachers, word of mouth.
Yep,
they're doing it just
absolutely.
to volunteer and help out, make something fun for the kids.
great reports, thank you guys. We do not have any committee reports this month. Anybody that's involved in a committee, we want to extend a huge thank you to them. We want to continue that. The committees are new as a return for us. We haven't done it for a couple of years. So we are going to be working on educating ourselves on the proper way to be doing everything. We're going to be meeting with somebody from CISA 6 before our next committee meetings. And then we will regroup with the committees. Mark, I apologize. Are you part of our committee? Are you part of our?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. He's part of
Yeah,
your
we've done
committee.
the buildings
Okay.
committee.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And then the events I'd like to talk about, which we've talked about in the past, I heard we had a very good event take place this past weekend, which was a fundraiser for the dam. And this weekend, I know there's Lions Mini Golf, and that's also a fundraiser for the dam. So if anybody's out there able to support the community, those are events that are coming up.
There's the Friday night fish fry at the.
Also, the Friday night fish fry, but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
it was explained to me by the president, there are state statutes that apply to them that limit, they basically have no liability in public spaces.